Hey guys, welcome to another video. We're going to be crossing DPS in this video. You know, damage, how to kill shit, basically in a nutshell. Don't want to call it rotation because you don't really stick to a simple rotation like for the whole of the time you're in PvP. I mean, we're not attacking raid bosses. PvP is much more spontaneous and you have to apply certain principles to ensure you're doing as much damage as possible in the shortest amount of time, etc, etc. Instead of giving you a rotation of spells, I'm going to give you stages. Okay, for stage 1 we're going to be building up our pressure, you know, building up our burst, and then stage 2 I'm going to be talking about the actual burst itself. We're also going to be talking about when is the best time to use your cooldowns, such as Empire Rune Weapon, Gargoyle, Unholy Frenzy, and things like that, and the best time to burst during your procs. Okay, so the first principle you need to learn is that Death Knight's a very fast class. We get the most damage out by being quick, with using our runes and our runic power. You need to be using them as soon as they're available. We also need to make sure that our dots are always on target we're killing, so we always need dot uptime. And we also need to spread those dots now and again. We also need to understand how to get death runes and keep death runes up for as long as you can as well. So basic spells that are going to fit into your rotation are blood taps, icy touches, and scourge strikes. They're going to use all of your runes. That's 6 abilities that you can use. The more abilities you're using, the better, because that's going to provide more procs, and it's going to provide not more runic power, but it's just going to provide sustained amount of runic power. You're going to get runic power at a good amount. Blood Boil and Icy Touch are extremely helpful because they spread diseases. Blood Boil does, and Blood Boil and Icy Touch will turn the Blood Rune and a Frost Rune into a Death Rune, which is also very helpful, and Icy Touches with a Glyph do Dispel, which is an amazing pressure. You want to be using your Scourge Strikes as a filler ability, as it does generate runic power. And really just need to be using it because it's extra runic power and it's extra damage. Okay, so you generate runic power pretty quickly when you're using your abilities pretty quickly, so then you need to use that runic power and use Death Coils. You use them as quickly as they're available. You don't want to be sitting on 100 runic power generating runic power. That is a really big mistake. Death Coils aren't just helpful for doing damage, they build up blood taps, which I'll talk about later, and they build up shadow infusions, which I'll talk about later. You also need to be using Horn of Winter as soon as it's available, as it generates runic power. Okay, let's talk about stage 1 of the rotation. Purposes of stage 1 are to get 4 Death Runes at least, 10 blood taps, 5 shadow infusions for your dark transformation. You need to be dispelling, you know, hots, buffs, whatever you can dispel, and you need to be getting some snares in. You need to be making sure that your target is weakened. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to get to, well, the purposes of stage 1. Obviously, always open with a Plague Strike. I'd recommend doing that, and open with like 2 Blood Boils and move on to Icy Touches. Make sure your pet's attacking the target and start using your Death Coils as soon as you can, and your Scourge Strikes. Make sure you're always doing something. That's really important about Death Knight. Always be doing something. Right, we're waiting now to get 10 Blood Taps and 5 Shadow Infusions, and I just got it right then. Okay, now I am ready for a full burst, which is stage 2. So now I'm sitting on 10 blood taps, that's 2 extra Death Runes, and I'm ready for my pet to go into Dark Transformation, do a hell of a lot more damage and better abilities. And I'm sitting on about 4 Death Runes right now, which is going to be good for my Necrotic Strikes, which is what stage 2 is all about. If I was attacking a PvP target, I probably would have dispelled a lot of the hots by now as well, and maybe some buffs, which is always very, very helpful. I would avoid using Icy Touch, not Icy Touch, sorry, I would avoid using Chains of Ice unless you really have to, because it ruins your rotation as it doesn't turn a Frost Rune into a Death Rune. I would look to other ways to slow down your target, like the Pet Stun or Death and Decay Glyph. Maybe. Just make sure you're always attacking your target. Okay, so stage 2. The purposes of stage 2 is to get your pressure out there as big as you can. You're going to be stacking a huge Necrotic Strike. You're going to be crowd controlling the healers, and you're going to be keeping your target, the guy you're killing, in place, and you're going to be utilising your pet control as much as you can, and make sure your pet is doing damage to the target you're killing, or doing stuns to the healer, or whoever who's on your focus. Okay, so around about now I'm ready to start bursting in stage 2. Okay, if you really need to be quick, and your runes are off for cooldown, this is when a good opportunity to use Empower Rune Weapon. Because really, if you know, sometimes you just really can't wait for your runes. But right now I was sitting on 5, now I'm sitting on 4 death runes. I am really ready to burst right now. Okay, so what you're going to do is obviously going to pop your cooldowns. I'm going to just wait for them to come off cooldown. My death runes. Okay, I'm ready now. So I'm going to pop Dark Transformation, I'm going to pop my Gargoyle, I'm going to pop Unholy Frenzy. I'm going to start, now I'm going to put him in a Asphyxiate to keep him still, or the healer, and then I'm just going to start applying my Necrotics and trying to get a really big stack. Okay, at the end of this, you need to be using your abilities as soon as you can. Okay, so I've got 2 blood runes there, I'm going to use them right now. Okay, you can't just, at the end of your burst, you can't just stop doing things. You need to start basically repeating stage 2. Make sure your diseases are always up, spreading them. See, I've got like more death runes now, and I'm ready for another stack. And that was like barely any, I was like less than 10 seconds after I bursted, so I'm basically bursting again, all over again. Still got cooldowns up. You know, you don't want to be bursting at least like 2.5, maybe, well, 2 to 3 times as long as your cooldowns are up, because you know when your cooldowns are up, you're going to be doing a lot more damage. See, I'm still stacking the correct. So you want to be. This is why I have my runes really big on my bar there. See, I'm ready for Dark Transformation again. As basically I'm bursting all over again. I'm using my abilities as soon as they're available, and now I'm on 4 death runes again. I'm using my Scourge Strikes. I'm using AMS to get rid of power. You know, if I was in PvP. And now I'm stacking the correct again, I'm bursting again. You want to be using, you don't want to be hanging on runes. If you've got a rune of cooldown, you use it, okay? And that's why I really like using Icy Touch and Blood Boil, because you know you don't have to be in melee range. So you can be generating your runic power without being in melee range, and that's what I like about Death Knight so much. You don't have to rely incredibly on being in melee range. Okay, I'm going to quickly explain procs. At the moment I'm using a PvE trinket, which is a pretty good proc, and I'm using the PvP one. Basically, these 2 trinkets will proc when you use spells. It doesn't necessarily. It's not just when you hit with normal attacks or with normal melee or special melee attacks. This is when you cast anything, so it can proc an Icy Touch, Blood Boils, and things. Rune of a Fallen Crusader also will proc whenever you deal damage. Sudden Doom will only proc with melee hits and Scourge Strikes or Festering Strikes, but the thing is we're avoiding using Festering Strike. Festering Strike basically an ability if you really need to use single target burst. It does more burst damage, and single target you might find it more useful for 2s. Basically you just do the exact same, but you don't use Blood Boils and your Icy Touches, or you use them, whatever. Basically, Rune of a Fallen Crusader will proc, Sudden Doom will proc only on when you use melee hits, so that's why it's really important to use your Scourge Strikes, because when your Scourge Strike hits, it will have a chance of proccing on your Scourge Strike, not just your melee hit. So that's procs, explained in a nutshell. Okay, so the final summation is basically be quick with your runes. Do not hang on your runes, do not hang on runic power. Death Knight is a fast class, you need to be doing stuff all the time. Okay, you need to be spreading those diseases, using your Blood Boils, doing your Dispels, doing your Scourge Strikes. As soon as you have runes, you use them. At the end of your burst, you don't just hang around and wait for him to die. You keep doing stuff again and again and again, and you keep Asphyxiate up for as long as you can, and you just got to be doing stuff all the time. Your reflexes need to be really in tune, and you need to be doing everything that you can possibly can all the time. You need to be very awake. It's not like other classes. You don't wait around for stuff to happen. You don't wait around for your procs to happen, and then you burst all the time. Alright, it's sustained damage. That's what Unholy Death Knight is. It's sustained AoE damage. Okay, now I'm going to show you some clips of me owning in 2s, you know, getting my cap done this week.